Get dark? I said, I bet your dogs notice it getting dark every day. It's called bedtime. I said, they'll just be messed up because they're going to be like, well, we barely got up today and it is bedtime again. But they probably don't have a watch and they'll just go, yeah, the day went by fast, didn't it? And that was it. This wives' tale is from Australia, the Aborigines, and they had several stories about this, but we know that the moon is very close to the sun right now. You can't see it, but boy, it's right close. Just a couple of fractions of degrees close. But they thought they had the eclipse figured out. And this works really well because I will tell you that I grew up on Possum Trot Road. It was a big metropolis in Flat Creek, Tennessee. And Possum Trot was one of the main thoroughfares. So you know you can't expect much from somebody that grew up on Possum Trot. The Aborigines thought that it was possum fur that covered the sun. And so it must have been a big possum, is all I could say. Mark Twain, and he used an eclipse as a pivotal plot point in a Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's court. And those of you who've read it remember this is about time travel. And our Yankee is about to be murdered, and what? He predicts a solar eclipse. And he saves himself. And the story was really based on a real-life episode that took place with Christopher Columbus. I don't ever see this much in the history books, but Christopher Columbus was almost executed along with all his men. And I have to admit, I don't have the notes on this, but it's a cool story. He predicted a lunar eclipse. And the natives around West Indies, somewhere or another, realized he had great powers of prediction, and they let him go. And so Christopher Columbus was almost murdered on one of his earliest journeys because he and his men were captured. They were the enemy until Christopher Columbus could predict, goodness gracious, the moon going away. I thought that you might like in Tibet, they know something's blocking the sun. They think it's a giant frog. And you got to wonder, where did this come from? Because, I mean, you can't see dragons, frogs, whatever. In the 19th century, 1800s, United States, one of the Boston, anybody here from Boston? We got you clap if you're Boston. Oh, I hear one. They're probably just clapping. In one of the Boston newspapers, it was stated that you should go inside. If you breathe the air outside during the eclipse, you will die. And so, now it could have been like the National Enquirer. I don't know about this paper. So people might not have put a lot of stock in it, but that was kind of sad. The Bella Coola, what a cool name, Bella Coola tribe that was in Canada, and this was in the 1700s, figured that the sun was just clumsy. And every now and then it fell. And so that was our eclipse. I told you that it was often like an omen or a foreshadowing of something really bad. The Navajo Indians said that, and this was after the eclipse in 1918, which was a very important eclipse. We'll talk about that later on after I give you a break to get over me, and we'll talk a little more about the science that took place later on. They said something bad is going to happen after every eclipse. And sure enough, the Spanish flu pandemic happened right after the eclipse in 1918. And so, sure enough, it reinforced what they believed. They said, that's what happened. Tens of millions of people died during that pandemic. And of course, I know that none of our citizens would believe in any wives' tales. But I have bad news for those of you that have something in the stock market. I'm going to reach right behind you because it is hot and I need help. Thank you. There is a financial analysis done by Gabriel Leopori, and he tracked Eclipse in the stock market ever since the start of the stock market. And I really meant to look today, and I haven't had a chance. Every day that there's been an eclipse in North America, the stock market's gone down. Now, I'm sure that is because what? The market about half the time goes down, but there'll be some people that go, oh, you can see, that's proof. Absolutely. We got one data point. This is from